Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Infinite Frontier, issue 0. I'm just kidding. This is actually a sort of a spoiler overview of some of the things that we can expect, apparently from Infinite Frontier. And yeah, I mean, look, Metal is what Metal was, and Metal ended with Wonder Woman sort of ascending into the quintessence, essentially being invited by the cosmic gods to join her because they were so impressed with her sacrifice. Wonder Woman, of course, was willing to sacrifice the entire multiverse, letting us all die because she didn't think that we could handle a universe that was controlled and manipulated by the Batman Who Laughs. So Wonder Woman took it upon herself to decide that we were all better off dead than to have a, ongoing lifetimes with the Batman Who Laughs in order to live and fight another day. So Wonder Woman was stupid. It was she was an idiot, and unfortunately, they made her a mockery of intelligence. She didn't exercise any wisdom. It was a very badly written tale, Death Metal. It ended horribly. It ended low. It ended without hope. It ended showing the stupidity, unfortunately, of one of the Trinity, which has always been, unfortunately, Wonder Woman has always been the worst written of all the Trinity, and that trend continues to this day, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better going into Infinite Frontier. But that's just the way it is. That's Diana Themyscira. There's a reason why she's been replaced by not one, but not two, but 3 women. Her mother's replacing her as Wonder Woman, Hippolyta. Nubia's replaced her as Wonder Woman in Future State. And of course, we have Yara replacing her, a Brazilian Wonder Woman as well. So we had 3 replacements for Diana Themyscira. Thank you very much. Diana, thanks for coming out. Nice knowing you these past 50, 60 years. Sayonara, goodbye, good riddance. Come back when you have a personality and when you actually exercise some wisdom, right? Does that sound harsh? So be it. But you know what? Let's get started here. Now, these are all the things that are rumored that I've got written up here in terms of what to expect from Infinite Frontier. So the next phase of the DC Universe begins with Infinite Frontier. Dark Knight's Death Metal presented the darkest threats of the multiverse. DC Future State revealed what may lie ahead. And by the way, if you don't read DC Future State, if you do, you're going to be grossly disappointed. But hey, go ahead if you want to. It does reveal what lies ahead, and it's not great by any stretch. If you're hoping for hope, if you're hoping for any type of something to smile about, don't go to DC Future State. Now, it's time to look into the infinite frontier of the current day DC Universe. In Gotham City, the Joker jolts citizens awake with an attack even the Dark Knight never expected. Well, that's not true. We're going to get into what that attack is, but patience, people. In Brazil, meanwhile, Yara, the young woman, discovers her destiny and her connection to the Amazons. That, of course, is Yara. In Belle Reve, Amanda Waller of the Suicide Squad plots an invasion of Arkham Asylum. In the far reaches of space, Mongol dreams of galactic domination, while the Green Lantern Corps hosts a summit of its greatest enemies. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, the League joins forces with Black Adam. Yay! But, what's Black Adam without Naomi, right? We need Naomi. After all, she's only spent 2 days adventuring in the DC Universe. We really need her skill and wisdom to, help guide the future of the Justice League. If you're Naomi, you can just skip right through Titans Academy, skip right through Teen Titans, skip right through every superhero team, and jump right into the big leagues. Anyways, beyond the mortal world, Wonder Woman. Which Wonder Woman? I have no idea. Wonder Woman settles into a new role in the God Sphere. That must be Diana. What role in the God Sphere does Diana play? Well, somewhere in the DC Universe, we don't know. It's the return of Stargirl and an all-new tale written by Jeff Johns. So, what is Infinite Frontier Zero one-shot? It's an oversized all-star issue that kicks off the next great era of storytelling and excitement as top writers and artists reveal what's next for the world's greatest heroes. It's $5.99 and it's coming out in March. And as you can tell, I tried to withhold my geekasm. But let's get into some of the things that are being teased or some spoilers for DC Future State. Now, the first thing is that Nubia becomes queen of the Amazons. Now, this is a spoiler. Now, how does this come about? I don't know, but it is inferred in some of the spoilers on Reddit and elsewhere that apparently what happens, and this is we know what happened to Diana Themyscira. She did her cowardly act at the end of Death Metal, and now Wonder Woman, Diana Themyscira, she's having a conversation with the Quintessence, and that leads to some things that we'll get into. Meanwhile, on Earth, Earth doesn't have a Wonder Woman anymore. Diana, I'm assuming that Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, assuming that her daughter Diana got her intelligence from her mother, Hippolyta's probably not particularly bright either. It's probably fair to assume that none of the Amazons are particularly bright, especially if they get their wisdom from Athena, who we know from decades of DC continuity is fairly stupid herself. And so, as a consequence, it's fair to assume that they probably just assume that Diana is dead, even though probably every other hero in the multiverse knows she really isn't. And Hippolyta herself is, ironically enough, a member of the Quintessence. And does Hippolyta herself know that Diana has entered the God Sphere? I don't know. I'm assuming she does. If I give her the benefit of the doubt, since I just finished insulting her, hey, maybe. But Hippolyta decides that she wants to be Wonder Woman. And so she takes it upon herself to enter man's world and join the Justice League as Wonder Woman to assume her daughter's mantle, probably as a way of honoring Diana. That's a very Amazonian thing to do, and that is honor the previous warriors. Female warriors have to be female, can't be men, because you can't respect men, right? Don't respect men. No respect for men. It's got to be female, and you got to respect the female, and then you got to replace her. And Hippolyta is going to replace Diana as a member of the Justice League, but not any Justice League, the Bendis Justice League, led, of course, by Green Arrow, of all people, because that's really important. Why is Green Arrow leading the Justice League? Because Green Arrow was at the head of the whole Leviathan series, or a major role, and it's written by Bendis, so you have to do that. And plus, Naomi's part of it. So there you go. Now, where does Nubia come along with this? Well, somebody's got to be queen of the Amazons. So Nubia, they decide to have a contest, and the contest gets to be queen. The winner of the contest gets to be the queen of Themyscira. As I said before, really dumb, really stupid. It just shows how dumb the Amazons actually are. I mean, if you just stop and think about it, I mean, if you're going to send a warrior to man's world or to humanity, it makes sense you can have a contest to see who's the best at diplomacy, best overall at fighting and everything. I can understand a contest for that. But a contest to actually decide who's going to be your queen, I mean, it just seems ridiculous to me. But anyways, not surprisingly, Nubia wins because their first two best, Hippolyta and Diana, of course, they're by the wayside, and Nubia, of course, steps up to the plate. I personally would have liked to have seen Nubia, as actually the Wonder Woman. Nubia was Wonder Woman in Future State. We know at some point in the future, way in the future, or 15, 20 years in the future, Nubia gives up, she must give up being Queen of the Amazons, and then becomes Wonder Woman. I don't know if that's sort of, I guess, is that going to be a thing now for Wonder Chicks? I don't know, is it going to be, did I say chicks? How old am I? Am I dating myself? Was I born in the 60s? Just on the last year of the 60s? What an ignorant thing to say, Wonder Chicks. Shame on me. Wonder Women. Whatever. Wonder Dames. Anyways, whatever. I don't care. The bottom line is, you go from queen. Isn't that a demotion? You go from queen to a Wonder Woman? I don't know. In any event, Nubia, good for you. You're going to go queen. You're going to be Wonder Woman. We know that from Future State. Somehow you're going to end up as Wonder Woman. So good for Nubia. Now, next we have Yara is a dreamer, and she travels back to Brazil. That's the other big rumor. The Wonder Girl series, or when we get into the state of Yara Flor, Joelle Jones and Jodie Belair did an amazing job conveying a story of in 2 issues of Future State of Yara Flor. Joelle Jones, fantastic art. Jodie Belair's beautiful colors. And Yara Flor's got an amazing personality. And apparently she is a dreamer. She was born in Brazil, but she came to the United States, I guess illegally, or her parents did, and she was born in the United States, and she is a dreamer. And by dreamer, I mean that she is not technically legal in the United States. And I think they did this all because they're playing on all the politics in the U.S. about trying to bring citizenship to all of the children of illegal immigrants, all of the children whose parents are illegal immigrants, but if they were born in America. So the idea is they should become citizens one day. That's all been in the news in the United States, the politics and jazz and Trump and all that nonsense. In any event, naturally they want to make Yara Flor a dreamer, both because it sounds good and because it's timely, it's relevant. I think it's a mistake. I think they should leave her from Brazil. I think it's about time that they should stop Americanizing every single hero that comes out of American superhero books. I know there is an egocentrism and an ethnocentrism in American superhero comic books, but I think they really should have left Yara Flor to be genuinely Brazilian and have no connection to the United States. I think that would have been much better in the long run, but I can understand why they did that, because they want to make everybody feel good, and it's the politically correct thing to do, and identity politics and yada 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 and all that jazz. And it'll work. I still love Yara Flor. She's still cool. I just think it was a missed opportunity. In any event, Hippolyta becomes Wonder Woman. I alluded to this already. This is very much in keeping with Amazonian tradition. Amazons seem to love doing this. Again, honoring each other by fighting for each other, and Hippolyta honoring Diana. It's interesting to note that Hippolyta has, at least it's in some incarnations of the Quintessence, has been a member of the Quintessence, and that is the all-powerful beings of the actually, I shouldn't even say that. I don't think she was. Maybe it was Hera. But for some reason, I seem to think that Hippolyta was at some point a member of the Quintessence. I'm probably wrong on that. It was probably Hera, who was a goddess. But something tells me that Hera probably told Hippolyta that Diana's okay and she's ascending to godhood or something. But so we'll see. Chances are Hippolyta is not a member of the Quintessence. Scratch that. Although I'm sure if I drank just a few more beer, she could probably be fully ingrained in the Quintessence in the recesses of my mind. But we'll leave her out of the Quintessence for now. In any event, Hera, the goddess Hera, Zeus's wife, has at times been a member of the Quintessence. That I know. In fact, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to show pictures of the Quintessence here. But in any event, Hippolyta becoming Wonder Woman, I think is kind of cool. And she's going to join the Justice League along with Black Adam, then Naomi, Hawkgirl, Aquaman, led by Green Arrow, Black Canary. Batman's going to be on it. So I'm actually kind of curious to see how this new Justice League is going to play out. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis. That's definitely not a good thing. He's not good at writing team books at all. His Young Justice was absolutely awful. I just want to remind people that in 14 issues of Young Justice, there wasn't a single plot line. There wasn't actually a plot. There was never actually a single plot there wasn't a plot. They literally jumped from universe to universe, and there was a bunch of nonsensical dialogue. He got all the continuity wrong. He had to go back and undo things. He doesn't listen to editors. It was really, really bad. Really bad. And I've read some bad comics in my 44 years of reading comics. And I got to tell you, Bendis is really awful at Young Justice. And I don't hold out hope that Justice League is going to be any good. And it doesn't bode well at all that he's shoehorning Naomi into this. This is we don't even know much about Naomi. We already know from the solicits of the first 3 issues of Justice League that unfortunately Bendis is going to be shoehorning Naomi's origin into the Justice League, which I think is an awful idea because he doesn't know how to tell a story in a short manner. I predict this is going to be another 24 to 36 issue run, at the end of which we still won't know anything about Naomi. I mark my words. But DC, I don't know if I think they just, obviously, I think they had a pretty shitty lawyer negotiate that contract with Bendis. They obviously got out of the exclusivity, so they got rid of Bendis out of the exclusive contract. But I'm sure it cost them some money, and they probably had no choice but to let him write Justice League. And so we're probably stuck with what are going to be pretty shitty stories for the foreseeable future. But I think they're trying to minimize the damage. That's why they probably gave him Hippolyta, Black Adam, and some of these other, characters that we can, sort of undo and go ahead and mess that part up. We can, I guess now that we're in this infinite frontier, how badly can Bendis mess it up? We can just move a couple of the pieces and undo his crap anyway. But in any event, that's what that is. So, continuing on, we get into far more interesting stuff now with in the pages of Batman. Bane is killed in an attack at Arkham by Joker gas. Well, in fact, I'm not now. Actually, I don't even know if this is in Batman. I think this is in Infinite Frontier. Now, somebody kills Bane with the Joker gas. Rumor has it might actually be Scarecrow, but Joker gas is used. And the reason why many people might think it is Joker that kills the Bane is you got to remember back in the early issues of Tinian's Batman, or was it Tinian's Batman, or even in Detective? In any event, the Joker's pissed off at Bane. And you see it here, I have it up on the screen, that Joker was pissed off at Bane that Bane killed Alfred. Because when the Joker killed Robin, Jason Todd, Joker thought that had finesse to it. There was a purpose to it. He was very pissed off at Bane, saying, why would you take away a trump card like that? We could always torture Batman through torturing the ones he loved, torture Alfred. You took that piece away. That was something that I should do. How dare you do that? And Joker swore vengeance on Bane and essentially told Bane that you're not going to see it coming when it comes, but it's coming. And now that Bane is dead, boom, one assumes that it must be Joker that took Bane out. That's going to happen in Infinite Frontier number 0. And it's probably some misdirection. Scarecrow is apparently going to be the big villain going into 2021 in Tinian's Batman. We know in Future State that ultimately Scarecrow ends up working alongside the Magistrate. So if the Future State future comes into play, we're going to basically know why. But in any event, we have that. Now, continuing on, the other rumor, we know that with Infinite Frontier issue 0, Simon Baz and Jon Stewart try to solve the mystery of Teen Lantern's gauntlet. Teen Lantern her real name is Kelly Quintella. We didn't learn a lot about Kelly Quintella in the pages of Brian Bendis' Young Justice. As I said, it was a terrible series. It didn't really explore any of the heroes. We learned almost nothing about any of the characters. There was no plot. There was no characterizations. There was just terrible dialogue scattered through 14 issues. And so as a consequence of that lack of characterization and poor writing, we now have a young child Teen Lantern. Look like a child here, but in the pages of Future State, Green Lantern Future State, Josie Campbell does a good job of getting us to know a little bit more about Kelly Quintella, where she meets some Guardians, and they're trying to get to the secret of the mystery of the gauntlet that she is wearing. And at least in the pages of Future State, they send her with Mogo to try to go to Joe Mullen, who is the Far Sector Green Lantern, and to try to find out more of the origins of her gauntlet. And it apparently, prior to that Future State happening, those events happening, Simon Biez and Jon Stewart helped solve the mystery of her gauntlet. Probably it's related to Krona, because it's related to Krona's gauntlet, and it draws upon the energies of the Green Lantern power battery. But in any event, that should be interesting. And hopefully, if it does lead into Future State, I hope it does rather quickly, because I really don't like the concept of being told what the future is and then getting to that future point. It was something that failed miserably when DC tried that stupid experiment back with 1 year later, which is a terrible event that took place after their 52 series way back in the day. It sucked then. I fear it'll suck now. The only way it won't suck is if they just ignore the Future State issues and just redo whatever, Just tell your story. Don't worry about trying to link up to Future State because nobody gives a crap about Future State. In any event, continuing on. Now, surprise, surprise, John Kent is suspected as being a tyrant by the Spectre. This is something that also is going to happen in Infinite Frontier. Now, I don't like John Kent. I loved John Kent when he was a 10-year-old boy. He actually had intelligence. He was likable. He was fun. And then suddenly, Bendis decides to age him up to a 17-year-old prick. And he's unlikable. He's an idiot. He's a moron. Honestly, him and present-day Diana Themyscira could probably get together and form a stupid club. This is such an unlikable character now. Future State John is such an idiot. He shrinks Metropolis. He's insecure. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he's got daddy issues. He didn't seem to have daddy issues after he was trapped for 7 years in a volcano on Earth 3 as he aged up. And the psychological torment of Ultraman didn't seem to bother him. But suddenly, 3 or 4 years of being home and around mommy and daddy, Lois and Clark, suddenly he's got daddy issues all of a sudden in Future State. Terribly written by the Future State writers. I won't mention them by name because why? I don't want to be too harsh, but it's just really bad. I'm really not interested in John Kent. Plus, artistically, I know he was being drawn by, I think it was John Tim or whatever. Terrible art. Again, even in this image I have of John Kent here, he's skinnier than Supergirl. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know. Is it okay to draw men like men and women like women anymore? Or is that not allowed in the present political, social, economic, cultural climate that we live in? Good grief. Anyways, guys, hey, I'm not conservative. I swear to God, I'm just a good old-fashioned redneck Purian fanboy. And I think men should look like men and women should be drawn like women. But hey, that's just me. I know it's a radical thought, but there you have it. Okay, so now what a next something happening in Infinite Frontier. Roy Harper apparently is alive and he's keeping a low profile. Well, I ascribe to the theory that was put forward through Eric at Weird Science DC. I want to give a shout out to Weird Science DC podcast. Check out Weird Science DC podcast. Great group of guys. And we have discussions there in the Slack. And one of the prevailing theories put forth by Eric and others is that Red Harper is in fact Red X. And there is some evidence in Future State Teen Titans that it is. At some point in the future, members of Teen Titans Academy they steal Miguel, who has the H-Style. They steal the H-Style. They hack into the H-Style. And apparently they try to resurrect the dead. They try to resurrect Roy Harper. He doesn't come back. Well, maybe one of the reasons why Roy Harper couldn't come back from the dead in the future is because he was in fact still alive. And because we now know that he's keeping a low profile, most people probably don't know that he was keeping a low profile and was really still alive when they attempted to bring him back to life. And if he's keeping a low profile, what is Roy Harper doing? Well, he's probably working alongside secretly with Dick Grayson as the Red X, because Dick Grayson did say in Future State Teen Titans that he was working in the past with Red X. And it makes sense that that's Roy Harper, and that's just the way it is. And so Roy Harper's Red X, I think that theory is going to bear fruit. Might be wrong on that, but so be it. Continuing on, all right. Interesting about the Flashes. Wally West becomes the mainstream Flash in the DC universe, which is about time. Fantastic. That is really good. That's really good to know. And he even has adventures with the Justice Society. He ends up going in the past, having an adventure with Jay Garrick in World War II. I like that. I like the idea of Wally West coming back, having some fun. Apparently there's some nonsense that he retires for about 5 minutes before finally coming back. Because, of course, Barry, right? Anyways, Wally comes back because you can't keep a good speedster down, and that's Wally West. He comes back. Great to see he's going to be coming back. And I don't care what Wally West does when he comes back, whether he's fighting in World War II in the past, or he's just kicking ass, or he's having fun with his twin kids and his wife Linda. That's what I want. Wally West is the Flash, and he's the Flash that I know and love, and he's better than Barry Allen, but at least now they're going to give Barry Allen make him useful. And how are they making Barry Allen useful? They're going to have Calvin Ellis, the President Superman of Earth 23, invite Barry to join Justice, the Justice Incarnate, which will, of course, be the Justice League, I'm assuming, of the totality, or at least one of the Justice Leagues that has a primary role in the multiverse. Prior to the end of Death Metal, under the pre-existing multiversity map, which Joshua Williamson recently said in an interview is still in fact in play, the Justice Incarnate was the Justice League that was made up of various members of the various Earths of the 52 Earths of the orrery of worlds that make up multiversity. That's Justice Incarnate. And they invite Barry to join Justice Incarnate, which is the Justice League that looks over the sanctity of the multiverse. So that's pretty good. And it's actually even in keeping with one of the things that actually happened in the pages of Scott Snyder's Justice League. At one point, they did in fact visit Justice Incarnate. They visited the orrery. They visited sort of a place outside within the multiverse where all the various heroes of the various Earths were present to discuss the threat of Perpetua. And Barry Allen has a reputation as being one of the more prevalent and significant Flashes in the multiverse. So it would make sense that they would contact Barry to join Justice Incarnate, because Barry himself died at one point during the original Crisis. And of course, Barry Allen is one of those Flashes that has died and been resurrected more than once in the past. So it would make sense that he would be part of Justice Incarnate. And Wally West has always been more of a grounded character. It makes sense that he would stay back on Earth and be the mainstream DC Universe Flash. All right. Now, Diana, the other event that happens is that Diana refuses to join the Quintessence. Now, the Quintessence consists of Highfather, which of New Genesis. Remember we have Darkseid on Apocalypse, and his opposite number is Highfather of New Genesis. We got the Phantom Stranger. We have Hera, and Hera being the wife of Zeus. We have the Wizard Shazam. We've got the Green Lantern Guardian Ganthet, and we have the Spectre. Those are generally the characters that make up the Quintessence. Those are the all-powerful beings of the multiverse. They're ultimately the ones that saved the Justice League at the end of Justice League 39, which allowed them to ultimately go on to save the day at the end of Death Metal, although technically they lost, thanks largely due to Diana. But not really, because the cosmic gods had mercy and basically restored everything. But in any event, the cosmic gods, as a reward to Diana, said, here, Diana, your sacrifice was so great, you can now ascend to godhood. And so Diana, in the process of ascending to godhood, the Quintessence invite Diana to join them. And Diana, of course, she's on the alternate cover to Infinite Frontier Zero, dressed in white, looking all godlike and angel-like, is invited to join the Quintessence. And she basically decides not to join the Quintessence because she recalls something the cosmic judges told her. And they told her that there's going to be a cost to us saving the multiverse. There's a cost. And that cost is, as Diana knows, that, well, while there's infinite possibilities, there's also infinite threats and there's infinite horrors. And one of those horrors is, of course, Darkseid. And we're going to be talking about Darkseid in a bit. And this is one of the things that I'm most excited about, because I've wanted Darkseid to get his day in the sun, or rather place in the darkness, for a long time now. And it's really good to see that it's coming up. And what is that? Well, Darkseid kills multiple incarnations of himself so that there's only one Darkseid. Now, I want to back up here, because Darkseid does something that's incredible. He kills every member of the Quintessence. He apparently kills them all. Now, exactly what is the membership of the Quintessence within the pages of Infinite Frontier? We don't know yet. I don't think he would end up killing the Spectre, because the Spectre ends up ultimately playing a role in later on having some resentments or some suspicions about John Kenta's. So I don't think he kills the Spectre. But in any event, it's a good thing that Wonder Woman refuses the invitation to join the Quintessence, because Darkseid kills all the members of the Quintessence, which I'm assuming is the Highfather, Hera, Ganthet, etc., etc. And he also does something else that's quite extraordinary, and that is he kills all the different incarnations of himself, so that he merges all his various entities into himself. Now, I want to explain this for a bit because a lot of people who don't know much about the multiverse may not understand something. So I want to explain it as clearly as I can. In the old, at least under the old uh, structure of the DC universe, under the multiversity map, there was only, in every multiverse, there's only ever one Darkseid. In all the different Earths in a multiverse, you could have more than one Superman. You could have Superman of Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 23, Earth 14, Earth 16, etc., etc. But there was only ever one Darkseid and one Highfather. One Darkseid, one Highfather. You have different multiverses. For every multiverse, there's only one Darkseid. Now, what Darkseid does is he merges all versions of himself in the multiverse so that there's only one omniversal, I'm assuming, Darkseid. If this is just Darkseid unifying all his multiversal selves, then it's bad writing because there was only one Darkseid to begin with. So we'll see how bad the writing is when we get to Infinite. It's written by Joshua Williamson, so I suspect he probably screwed up. But we'll find out that when we'll have to read that to find out. But in any event, it's still pretty cool, the idea that there's going to just be one Darkseid, because there always should be only one Darkseid. And I like that. I like that. The scene I have up here, I think, is from Joker War, when the Joker took over, an Emperor Joker, when he took over the universe and he took over the quintessence. It's a scene that I always sort of chuckle at. But in any event, I like the idea that there's only going to be one Darkseid. That's pretty cool. Now, finally, one of the revelations that was hinted at in the Future State Justice League number 2, there are 2 additional worlds that are added to the multiverse. The multiversal map is still in play. Joshua Williamson has stated that in interviews. So the map we see here is still in play, but with one little wrinkle. The first number of wrinkles. The first wrinkle is that Earth designate 0, is no longer the center of the multiverse. And second, there are 2 other worlds that the center of the multiverse is actually an Elseworld, something called an Elseworlds. Now, we don't know exactly what an Elseworld is. There are theories that it might be a place where different timelines play out and all the Elseworld stories took place on there. We don't know what the rules are in Elseworld. We don't know why it exists or what the rules are in regarding its existence. But we also know that there's an opposite planet to the Elseworld called Earth Omega. Now, what is Earth Omega? We don't know, but we do know that at the end of Future State Justice League, the Justice League imprisons the Harper clan on Earth Omega, leading me to believe that perhaps Earth Omega is a prison planet for various powerful multiversal villains that you can imprison them on Earth Omega, or any force they can't control, they put on Earth Omega. That's just a theory. I'm guessing, pure speculation, but it is what it is. In any event, I like this. It's all these rumors. This is all going to be jam-packed, apparently, into Infinite Frontier number 0. It'll be interesting to see what else comes of it. Now, the creative teams that we're going to have on Infinite Frontier: Scott Snyder, Becky Cloonan, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Alex Malev, Aletha Martinez, John Timms, Brian Michael Bendis, Joshua Williamson, Michael Conrad, Howard Porter, Jose Jimenez, Mikhail Janin, Jeff Johns, James Taney IV, Jamal Ingle, David Marquez, Todd Knock, and a whole slew of other ones. I forget all of them, but they're all listed here. You can see. And I think, I'm definitely going to be checking this out. The future of the DC universe, it's in a state of flux, and there are all kinds of interesting things here, interesting rumors. It's going to be interesting how things go. Now, I will say that I just wanted to give a couple of hints here of what outside the Infinite Universe. I just want to give a shout out to the Crime Syndicate and Andy Schmidt. I'm so looking forward to this series. This has nothing to do with Infinite Frontier, but it kind of does, because this takes place on Earth 3, and I'm looking forward to the revitalizations of the Crime Syndicate. I love the idea of the Crime Syndicate 6-issue series. Very much looking forward to this. Andy Schmidt, McCowan, and Brian Hitch are on it. So a great creative team, great cover B. I'm looking forward to it. And issue 2 and some great variant cover of Owlman there. And here's issue 3 that's going to be coming out in May. Another great variant cover. We're going to be getting a new origin for Superwoman. So I'm looking forward to this, guys. I am. And of course, there's going to be all kinds of there's hints about Justice League. Teen Titans Academy is going to be coming out, and apparently Red X, who I believe is Roy Harper. Again, shout out to Weird Science DC podcast. There's going to be a crossover between Titans Academy, the Suicide Squad, and the involvement of Red X. Looking forward to that. Should be really good. And again, I'm looking forward to Wally West and The Flash crossing over with Ray Garrick in World War II. Should all be good stuff, guys, coming out. I'm trying to be positive here, looking forward into this new universe, this new, shall we say, this new infinite frontier. I'm looking forward to this. I'm trying to put the best possible spin I can on all things DC moving forward. And let's just hope for the best, right? Let's just hope for the best. Guys, tell me what you think of Infinite Frontier. Tell me if you think that we are headed for something good. Tell me what you think of Darkseid being the main bad guy. I kind of like that myself. In any event, guys, tell me what you think. Hit the subscribe button. And I just want to thank everybody before I sign off here. I hit 1,000 subs about a couple weeks ago. Thank you so much for all those who subbed up. I really do appreciate it. It's been a long road to 1,000 subs for me. It's not something that I don't monetize anyway, but it's nice to know that I'm hitting 1,000. You know, 4 numbers is better than 3. In any event, thank you so much. And continue to watch. Tell others about my channel if you can. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, guys, Comic Boom out.
Whoa.